Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hey everybody, what's out there in Raider Nation? Here we are for episode 7 of Raiders Coast to Coast, along with myself, Jeff from New England Raider Booster, and my partner.
LV Raider 10, what's good, you guys?
So, how you doing?
Good, good. Obviously the Raiders we're coming back to another Raiders loss, but it's all right, we still keep that first overall position. It's I don't like to lose, but it's a little bit easier knowing that, we stay that high in the draft process.
Yeah, true, true. I mean, it's like I said like the other day, and I've said a few times, it's that happy if we win, but still we're happy if we lose because we keep our draft pick.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's that middle of the road happy medium, I guess.
No, I
I
totally
know
get
some
you.
people don't want us to win, period.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
know.
I don't
Yeah,
want to
that's
see us lose.
that's just crazy
But
to me, honestly.
yeah, the let's say lose on purpose. No, 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 no. So
All right, well, let's go ahead and get into the Raiders' loss, like we were just talking about. The Raiders lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a score of 13-28. Is there anything that stuck out to this game for you, on the Raiders side of the ball, or just in the game in general?
yeah, that we sucked.
Yeah,
I mean, there wasn't many bright spots. I mean, Bowers got taken out of the, not taken out of the game, but he got shut out basically. I mean,
yeah,
four catches for him is basically like he didn't even catch a single one because we're so used to him now getting anywhere from 9 to plus 10 catches in a game.
right,
So when he
exactly.
only gets four catches, it's almost like he didn't catch a single one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's not that he wasn't targeted. He was, he was throwing to him, but he just wasn't able to get it to him. He was just covered so well. You know, I guess there is a bright spot. I mean, Myers did show up.
Yeah,
Michael Mayer. I go, man, I do this
you
every time.
always
We got to get
flip flop
these
it.
guys are going to change their names. Damn it. Um, yeah, Michael Mayer. I mean, he kind of showed up this time. Not that he
Yeah,
didn't show up in the past, but they finally got him involved. I should say.
yeah, I think
You
he
know,
led
and he
the
looked.
team in receiving for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he looked good. So I can't argue that one. You know, on defense, I mean, we did get interceptions. You know, couldn't turn them into freaking points to save ourselves. On a regular basis. But
Yeah,
what are you gonna do?
yeah.
What,
Uh,
what did you? What's your take on? What do you think about them?
Yeah, for me it was the Aiden O'Connell come back to earth game for me. Everyone was riding high, and I know that's your guy, but he definitely had a come back to earth type game. He threw a pick. He looked a little bit worse than he did against Kansas City on Black Friday. Everyone was expecting him to have a good game, because Tampa's defense was not the greatest. Um, and we everyone had high hopes. I had high hopes for him too, honestly, coming into the game, and he just
I did. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So and he didn't produce. And he had an interception and he ended up getting injured. So it's kind of hard to evaluate him now, and hopefully, the injury doesn't keep him sidelined for too long, but we'll see.
I mean, it looks like he'll be back on Monday. I hope.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that a little later on too. But
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, he did kind of have a down to earth game. Um, but there were so many factors involved in that too. It wasn't just himself screwing up. Yeah, he did make some faux pas out there, but I mean, it just seemed like the team just wasn't. The players weren't getting open, like the receivers weren't getting open on a regular basis. Yeah, he
Mhm.
threw some bad passes. There was some mix-ups on the offensive line. Parham stepped on his foot. That caused the whole issue
Yeah,
there.
that's right.
The defensive front wasn't his face for a good part of the game too. So, I mean, again, every quarterback has their bad days.
Right.
And you could tell even before that push where he really got knocked out of the game, you could tell he was hobbling from when he fell earlier. So you knew something already wasn't feeling right with him,
Mhm.
and it just
Definitely.
took that one play that was it for him. He was done, you
Yeah,
know.
for sure. But honestly, another a bright spot that the Raiders had during this game was Sincere McCormick. He had, I believe, it was 78 yards on the day, and he
Yeah,
continues to look good every single week. And I really like the way Sincere McCormick is running the ball, and I believe he's was just recently named the starter for the rest of the year.
yeah,
So
I saw that today. Yep.
yeah, so that's good news. I think for Raider Nation, everybody seems to like Sincere McCormick and the way he plays. So yeah, I'm very excited to continues to see how he progresses throughout the year.
I mean, after watching the 3 games that he's played in, it's been a progression every week. He's gotten better, from
Mm-hmm.
the first week right up to the third week, even though we lost them all. But he still looked a hell of a lot better this week too. And I did see that they elevated him to RB1, so
Yeah.
he's the go-to guy for the rest of the season with Madison coming in relief of him. Because Zeus is now on the IR, so there's
Right.
another guy out of the mix for the backfield. Abdul's still be in there and do his thing every now and then, I'm sure. You know, now see if we get Lobby. How do you pronounce his name?
Yeah.
Lobby,
Dylan Lobby.
Dylan Lobby. Get him some carries too. Again, it's time to evaluate these two guys at running back. See what these two can do.
Yeah. Totally agree. Um. Yeah. So we kind of talked about it a little bit earlier. Brock Bowers had a pretty quiet game, and I don't think anybody was really expecting that from him, because
No.
like we said, Tampa Bay had a lot of injuries coming into this game, and they continued to have a lot of injuries, and they were giving up a lot of yards and catches to tight ends prior to this game. And I think, you know, uh, teams are really starting to key in that Brock Bowers is really our one weapon. And that's really why Michael Mayer shined in this game, because they really took away Brock Bowers. Like you said, he only had 4 catches, and that's
Hmm.
very not common for him to only have that many receptions.
No. No. But I mean, I guess it's a good thing too if you look at it, because now it's showing that yeah, fine. You want to double up on Bowers or try and take him out of the game. We'll burn you another way. I mean, the offense isn't there yet to the point where we can rely solely on either one of them. It's got to be a mixture of the two plus a wide receiver out there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's showing progress. In my eyes, it shows progress. It shows progress on Michael Mayer himself, and it shows progress that the offense is looking to make changes going forward.
Yeah.
To adapt basically. So I, it was definitely, like I said earlier, it was definitely a bright spot
Oh, for
seeing
sure.
him, be the number one receiver that day.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah, definitely. Um, yeah. So let's go ahead and go back to AOC, and let's talk about his injury a little bit more. Uh, his injury when it happened, it looked really bad. Like for me, I thought watching it in real time, I was like, damn, like we lost another quarterback. We already had Minshew out. AOC had been gone for a long time already with a broken thumb, and now he possibly broke his leg, or tore something, tore his ACL, something. They put it in an air cast. He had to get carted off, and come to find out, reports come out that it's only a bone bruise, and so he's potentially gonna play on Monday. And we talked about a little bit yesterday on the Raider Connection show. But how effective do you think Aiden O'Connell's gonna be coming off of this injury?
well, I mean, we all know he's not a scrambler, injury or no injury. He's not a scrambler. So it all depends on how much he's going to have to move around, and how much pain is he really in right now. We won't know the full injury report or his designation until tomorrow when they come out with the injury report.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for this week's game. I mean, it could be where he's a game time decision.
Yeah.
With it being a Monday night, they might wait that long to actually make that decision on whether he's going to start or not. I mean, if people want, if fans want to win, he's your best hope
Yeah.
at quarterback, only because he's been in the system for so long now, and he's accustomed to what they're going to run. Whereas with like Ritter, He
Hmm.
hasn't been there long enough. He shows that he's still not up to speed yet. But if
Yeah.
we have to rely on Ritter, we have to rely on Ritter. We got no choice. There's no there's not a lot of options.
There's
You
literally
know?
only one other option at that point, and it's Carter Bradley.
Yeah,
And so it's like,
yeah.
yeah, we're kind of down to it's either O'Connell plays or, we're down to our backups to the backups to our practice squad players at quarterback. And that's not a situation, winning football teams are normally in.
No, no, not at all. I mean, it's a good thing we weren't playing, for a playoff role coming up because this is what we'd be going into right now
Yeah.
with him hobbled and two inexperienced quarterbacks on this team.
Mm-hmm.
It would be it would almost be like a repeat of the year when Derek Harbaugh was like,
Exactly.
we were forced to go in with a backup, then he gets hurt, and then we got to go with Cook, who you know was
Was a
just thrown to
rookie,
the
and
wolves.
yeah,
Yeah, was
exactly.
thrown to the wolves, and you feel bad for the kid. It's like, what are you supposed to do? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you're gonna go out there and try and do your hardest to win a playoff game. Your first start is a playoff game.
Yeah,
Good luck,
that's
buddy.
insane.
I
And
wouldn't wish that on anyone.
exactly, yeah, and to go in on the road in a
Yeah,
playoff game,
yeah,
your first start, like
yeah.
that's terrible, terrible. And we kind of talked about it, or I said it yesterday on the show yesterday. Yeah, I'm kind of interested in seeing Desmond Ritter play a little bit more and to start the game initially, because well, one for me is the storyline of him potentially playing against his former team, uh, and to me, that's kind of interesting. For not a lot of implications for this game on the Raiders side of the ball. You kind of have to look for stuff to really watch, and so that to me was kind of interesting, um, as well as uh, Ritter has been when he's been in the game, it hasn't been in the greatest situations. People like
No.
LC going down, Minshew going down, has to come in try to mount a comeback at the end of the game, and yeah, he's been just put in the worst situations possible. So if he is going to be the starter for this game, it's going to be really interesting for me to see how he does throughout the entirety of a game.
Yeah, and the other thing too is, I mean, I definitely get the whole like a revenge game, I guess you could say. I mean,
Yeah,
he was only there for one season as a starter before they go and bring in Kirk Cousins, so that changes that for the poor kid, you know. But it's also the fact that we got to kind of start thinking about what we're going to do with all these guys that are on our roster. Are
yeah.
we going to try and keep Ritter for next year? Are we going to try and possibly trade him away? Comes draft time if he's still under contract. I don't know. What was it? Just a 1 year contract he signed with us?
Yeah, when you sign people off the
No. So then
practice
the
squad,
season's
it's
over.
the
He's gone
rest. Yeah.
anyway. Yeah, and we can't trade him right now anyway. But we still want to evaluate if we want to even think about offering him a contract to keep him from next year. Yeah, but keeping him, well, using him in game time situations, like getting him some game time experience with our system to see how well he gels with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's just when he has come in, you're absolutely right. He's come in the worst possible situations ever. He's come in every time he's come in, we've been losing. So now he's being counted on to try and bring us back to win a game.
Yeah,
He's never stepped in while we had the lead, I believe.
I
I
doubt
don't
it.
think we've had many leads throughout the season anyway.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
so and the same thing with Bradley. It wouldn't be bad to see him get out there.
Oh
You
no,
know,
definitely. Yeah, I know a
but
lot of
the
people has
thing
been calling for him recently too.
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, usually for a quarterback like that, you're doing that when you're getting blown out. There's no sense in you're either blowing somebody out or they're just destroying you, and you're down by like 30 points, and that's when you put your backups in and let them get some play time.
Mm-hmm.
But even the games that we're losing, for the most part, we're not getting blown out in these games. We're losing by a few points.
Yeah.
So the game's still on the line. So you really don't want to throw him in there if you have any aspirations to win a game. So we're not even getting a fair shake to see what this kid can even do. Because
Yeah.
who knows what this kid holds for the future.
Yeah.
So it's a sticky situation with everything going on as far as play time for these guys.
Yeah, definitely. But let's go ahead and move over to the other side of the ball. The Raiders defense had a pretty solid game. I believe this is the most turnovers, or tied for the most turnovers that they've had all season, and that's two interceptions forced by the Raiders defense, one by Caleb Von Chason and the other by Jack Jones. And I just want to highlight the Caleb Von Chason play because that play was dope. Like it reminded me a little bit of like what J.J. Watt used to do on the line, bat down the ball, intercept it. He didn't take it for a
Mhm.
touchdown. That's kind of what J.J. Watt was known for, taking those to the end zone. But you know, he got the interception, and it was a dope play by Caleb Von Chase on there.
Yeah, I mean, the defense definitely played a little bit better. The running game still killed us though. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, like Jack Jones, that interception, I remember because I was at the bar with all the other club members, and he caught it in the end zone, and everybody's yelling, go down!" But you know him. He's not going to take the easy way out of it. He's
No.
going to try and get a pick six out of
Yeah,
this.
exactly.
He brought it out to like almost the 20. I think it was like around the 15 to 20 in that range. So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, still brought it out pretty much about the same spot he would have if he had just taken a knee in the end zone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was and that chase on one. I mean, that's just focus on him after he batted the ball to stick with it and get the grab for the interception.
Yeah.
But the defense they played pretty well. Max Crosby, I, I that guy could not catch a break on getting a hold of Baker Mayfield. That little bastard got away from him every time. That one in the end zone that would have been for a safety.
Yeah.
I'm sure Max goes to bed since that game going, "I had him. I freaking had him," because he did. He legit had him,
Yeah, for
but
sure.
he just wiggled his way out enough to get the ball away, and it's just,
Yeah.
ugh,
That's a
at
tough
least 3
one.
or 4 times. He could have had 4 sacks on him Sunday, I believe, or at least 3 that I remember correctly.
Yeah, for sure. Max was. It seemed like he was honestly everywhere. Um,
Yeah.
he he's gonna have a pretty. I mean, he should have a good game against Kirk Cousin at least. Like uh he's not a mobile quarterback to say the least, and
No.
coming off an injury as well. So we'll see when that comes around. But um, let's go ahead and continue on the defensive side of the ball. Some defensive players continue to show progression. Like the person we just said, Caleb on Chason, was the probably the main person that I kind of wanted to highlight in this part. He every single week he seems to continue to get better, and so does our secondary though. DeCameron Richardson definitely struggled in the beginning when he first had to step up and play, the starting corner role. But I feel like he's starting to settle in a little bit more, starting to get
Yeah.
a little bit more hang of it, and it helps that we have. Oh my God, I can't remember the other corner's name right now. Um, he went to UCLA.
Bennett?
No, he played number 30, I think he is. The other corner, I can't think of his name right now. Oh, Darnay Holmes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Darnay Holmes.
I was drawing a blank myself there.
Yeah, yeah, he's a LA kid. I should have known that already. But yeah, Darnay Holmes. It helps that we have an experienced corner who's played some football in the NFL before, out there as well to help DeCameron Richardson out there. But like I said, Caleb on Chason has been progressing every single week, and to me, I think he's deserved a contract extension for the Raiders. Uh,
Oh,
just
hell yeah.
just for depth purposes. Uh, you know, that's what I think. Who has stood out on the defensive side of the ball? These past couple of weeks for sure.
Oh, definitely Chase on. I mean, he's shown so far this season why he was a, first round pick. I mean,
Yeah.
he's out there, he's balling. He's trying to do his part to help this defense and and get the W's, but everything's just not falling into place. But he's been a beautiful addition to this defense for
Oh yeah.
sure. So I agree 100% that he's definitely a guy that we need to look at to seriously think about bringing back next year.
Oh yeah. Totally
You
agree.
know, and if we add a little, a couple of players here and there on defense, that defense could have be something special. I mean, they've been good this year. Defense has been better than it has been in the past. I
Yeah.
mean, we finished strong last year, so I had high hopes. But then injuries just hit us bad this year on
Very
defense, especially.
extremely
You
bad.
know
Yeah.
that just took the wind right out of our sails early on in the season. So we're having to constantly adapt every week with different players playing in positions that, well, not that they haven't played them before, but getting more rep time out there. So they're getting better as the season's going.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is I envision Chase on possibly getting in the backfield a lot this weekend with Cousins.
Yeah,
I think between him and Max, they could have a multi sack game, both of them this
yeah,
week.
I think so as well.
I think it's definitely doable where they each walk off with at least 2 sacks. Like I said
Yep.
last night in the radio connection, Cousins ain't going to be able to juke and jive away from Max like Baker Mayfield did last week.
No,
You
definitely
know,
not.
he's no spring chicken. He's in his
Exactly.
mid to late 30s here as a quarterback in the NFL, so
Mm-hmm.
he ain't running too swiftly.
Yeah, exactly. And as we talk about Kirk Cousins a little bit more, let's go ahead and move over and let's look forward to the Monday night game against the Falcons. Um, what sticks out to you, coming up as the Raiders face the Falcons?
Um, what sticks out as far as what the good or the bad? Which way you
Um,
want to
let's do both. Well, let's talk about
go?
both.
If you look at the good, depending on who our starting quarterback is,
Mm-hmm.
preferably it's AOC. I think our offense could be in a little better shape.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just look what I know. Minnesota's Minnesota. I'm not saying we're as good as Minnesota on offense, but you just look at what Sam Donald did last week with Minnesota. He put up 5 freaking touchdowns.
Yeah,
There's a legit shot that if it's Aiden O'Connell, he could put up anywhere from 2 to 3 this game. It's
for
possible.
sure.
Atlanta's defense is nothing special. We should be able to run on them, which would then keep defenses honest and give him some time to throw the ball.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I see a lot of I see a lot of potential with the offense to really do something this time and early too. I think Bowers could have his bounce back game again this week after a couple of mediocre weeks. With that one good game against Kansas City, and then he's had a couple of mediocre games surrounding those. So this could be the week that Brock Bowers is back again too.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
completely agree. Honestly.
on the downside, bad side is
Mm-hmm.
their offense against our defense, our secondary especially.
Yeah.
Because they got some burners and they got some ballers. Now I did see that Mooney is listed as possibly questionable,
Oh, really?
the wide receiver. Yeah, but again, don't forget they still got Bijan, and Bijan's a hell of a running back, and you got a tandem with him and Algier too.
Yeah, that's right.
Look what Tampa Bay did last week. With a rookie running back and with Zamir White. You know, th- those were two good running backs that did rip off some serious yardage against us, and it could be the same way, if not even worse, this week with Bijan, and Algier. You know,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
so
go ahead. My bad.
no, go. I didn't
Yeah.
say nothing.
No, Rashad White definitely was he looked like the
That is
number one
for
back
sure.
that he was last season. Bucky Irving was coming off of an injury, so it really fell onto Rashad White's hands. But if we were making Rashad White look like, the number one back again, that's we have to figure it out because Bijan Robinson is not a slouch. He is not. He's possibly one of the most talented backs in the entire league. So
Yeah,
we're gonna have to be able to figure that one out. Um,
yeah. I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
even last week when Bucky Irving coming back from the injury, he's still freaking really good last week. He
Yeah,
still rattled off some decent runs too.
yeah,
So I mean, he's still got that potential to burn us. And now he's getting a little bit longer week now between. I don't know. That was never mind. I'm thinking we're still playing Bucky Irving again this week. Jesus Christ. What the hell is wrong with me today?
it's all good. But
Oh,
yeah, let's go ahead and talk about Atlanta's last game. We kind of touched on it a little bit, but they lost to Minnesota, 42-21, and the main person there was Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold had 22. He went 22 for 28, 347 yards, and 5 touchdowns.
mhm.
that is an insane stat line from Sam Darnold, and that includes um, Justin Jefferson had a huge game, and so did Jordan
Yeah.
Addison. So they were absolutely airing the ball out. And do you think that's an approach that the Raiders should take facing this Atlanta defense?
Yeah, I mean, just take a play right out of their own, out of Minnesota's playbook here, and just try and do the same thing with because I mean, look at his completions. He was 22 out of 28 with
Mm-hmm.
347 yards. So that wasn't a lot of little dink and dunk 5 yard, 4 yard
Yeah.
passes. Those were like a lot of 20 yard plus
Yeah.
passes, you know, and some long ones for touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we could do the same thing. It's just that do we have the playmakers to spread the field that deep right away? That's the problem. And
Mm-hmm.
if it's O'Connell, is his knee going to be like? Is it going to not hurt him enough to where he can throw it a little bit? Throw the deeper ball.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting him to go out there and throw a series of like 40-yard bombs constantly. Because that's just not the type of quarterback he is. You know, but we need to open the field up fast and early. That's a definite.
Yeah, for sure.
It can be done with Jacoby. But I mean, it could probably also be done with Brock Bowers because
Oh yeah.
he's got some speed to him. But the big thing with him is he matches up well against the secondary here
Oh,
because
for
of
sure.
his size.
Mm-hmm.
He could get that ball and he could roll over some of these defensive backs and get some serious yardage.
Yep.
You know, and I like the fact of McCormick last week catching a few out of the backfield, and he looked good at that too.
Yeah.
So we've got some weapons that we can do this with. It's just a matter of getting it done and doing it.
Yeah.
You know,
Definitely.
and sustaining that. Keep long drives going, or go for some short drives because you're going to throw the ball deep. And it really stretch the field.
Yeah, I think it kind of depends as well, like you were saying, on the quarterback who starts.
Hmm.
Like you said, also, I don't know how um, effective Aiden O'Connell's going to be coming off the injury. That is still yet to be seen. Obviously, we don't really know. We're not on the practice field with them, so we don't know how he's looking throwing the ball. But honestly, like if it's Desmond Ritter, I want to see that connection with Trey Tucker going back to Cincinnati. I mean, they didn't go to the
Yeah.
playoff in college for no reason, and Trey Tucker was a big part, and so was Desmond Ritter a part of that Cincinnati team. You know, playing against Bama in the playoff. Obviously, they ended up losing, but they were that team was like very successful. So I think it's possible to go ahead and air it out. Obviously, we don't have guys like Jordan Addison or Justin Jefferson on our team right now, but I
No,
think
I
it's
wish.
yeah, exactly. I think it's definitely possible. Maybe not to the extent that Sam Darnold did it, but I think it's still definitely possible. Um, but let's go ahead and let's look at um, Kirk Cousin again. And this is another week without a passing touchdown, and he threw two more interceptions in this game against Minnesota. And he's been having some terrible luck with interceptions. Uh, do you think that he could continue that interception train and give some away to the Raiders?
Oh, he definitely could. I definitely think he could. Um, just because of the amount of pressure that we had the chance to put on him.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't give him the time, then he can't burn us.
Yeah.
Darnell Mooney can't burn us. Pitts can't burn us. It's going to be putting the pressure on Cousins to prevent him from making those plays. You know, and throwing the ball up, and hopefully one of our guys out there ball hawking and getting the ball. You
Yeah.
know, it's definitely doable. I mean, that's his track record. He's gone. Well, what did I read? Something like he's 8 interceptions to 0 TDs in the last few
Yeah.
games in
I believe
total.
that's what it is.
So I mean that's not good.
No,
I mean,
definitely
there's
not.
even a chance you could possibly see if they get behind, you could actually see Rattler come in at some point too.
Penix?
Not Rattler, Penix. My God, what is up? You
Yeah,
could
I
see
know.
Penix.
Yeah.
You could see Penix start. The guy that I really wanted in this past draft in the
Yeah,
second
same
round.
here.
you know. So maybe them making that pick on Penix, especially if he's going to end up being good for them in the future, worked out for them in a way because the writing, maybe they saw it on the wall that, Cousins isn't, but why would they spend that kind of money on him?
Yeah,
I mean, that contract's ridiculous.
that's a weird situation for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've I've been seeing a lot of people asking for Penix online already. Like, hey, Kirk Cousins has been pretty terrible. Like, let's see what Michael Penix has to offer at least. I mean, they're still trying to play for a playoff position. Obviously, they don't want
Hmm.
to completely take themselves out of the running, but Michael Penix, if he has something to offer, might as well try to go see it.
Yeah.
Hopefully not against the Raiders though. Hopefully he doesn't line us up.
Yeah. No.
But
Yeah. Let him come in and we can just sack him, and he doesn't get anything. So I'm fine with that too.
but let's go ahead and let's talk about another weapon on Atlanta, and that's Bijan Robinson. And we kind of touched a little bit on there on his production, but he had 22 carries, 92 yards, and a touchdown against Minnesota. So pretty effective single-handedly, essentially. I don't know what Tyler Algier put up. I don't know his stat line, but I know Bijan Robinson is the premier back in Atlanta for sure.
Yeah, it
Uh
wasn't that type of stats for him for Algier, but it was
huh.
still pretty decent, I guess you could say. I'm gonna look it
Yeah.
up right now. I'm gonna pull up last week's.
Oh, Minnesota held them to 115 total rushing, so about 20 yards
Yeah,
ish, 30 yards ish.
yeah, where are we here? Algier, 9 for 63.
9 for 63.
And a touchdown.
Damn. So they're
Yep.
they're definitely pretty good in the backfield.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, even their receiving, like you said, Mooney 6 catches, 142, no touchdowns. McLeod 8 for 98. London 5 for 70. Pitts was only 1 for 14, so they took him out of the game at least.
Hmm.
So I mean, so they again they had that 1-2 punch, like I said earlier, with Algier and Robinson.
Yeah.
So I mean, and if you think about it, you look at what the score is, right? So the Falcons scored early. They had 11. So they were at 21 by the third quarter,
Hmm.
right? But then you look at the rest of the third quarter, Minnesota scored one touchdown. They scored a touchdown in each quarter, one, two, three. And then in the fourth quarter, they scored three touchdowns. So even the last quarter and a half of the game, the Falcons were down by so much that they probably weren't even running the ball that much. So they must have been running the ball earlier in the game for Bijan to get that type of yardage and Algier.
Yeah.
Algier. So I'm sure it was just strictly passing after that, you
Yeah.
know. So they weren't even being utilized to run the ball, I'm sure, and especially in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, for sure. Because
So
they
they
had to try to
easily could
catch
have
up.
both
Yeah.
had over 100 yards if Atlanta would have been in more control of that game, they wouldn't have been throwing so much,
Yeah.
you know. So I mean that
Exactly.
kind of skews the stats. Let's see, and neither one of the running backs had any. Yeah, Bijan's the only one that caught anything out of the backfield. 2 catches for 9 yards.
So not too bad. I know Kirk Cousins
Yeah,
put up a lot of yards. I seen that he put up a lot of yards.
yeah,
But obviously no touchdowns. He wasn't really um, being effective on scoring points. So that's a reason why they of course ended up losing. Um,
yep, pretty
as
much.
as well as Atlanta gave the ball away 3 total times. Interceptions. Uh, Kirk Cousins had 2 interceptions and then another turnover by the Falcons. I'm hoping that with the Raiders' recent luck of getting turnovers, that they can kind of snowball. They can continue to create turnovers because that if they continue to create turnovers, that'll definitely put us in a great position to be able to win this game. And like I said already, I want to win games. It's just if we do lose, it's a little bit easier to stomach for sure.
Yeah, yeah, and
But
like I said last night too on the Raider connection, is you got to remember Atlanta's still playing for a playoff spot.
Yeah.
So you know they're not going to come in and just roll over and play dead and give up. They're going to go out there to try and win this game also because you know again they're fighting for a playoff spot.
Hmm.
So their season's still on the line. If they lose this, then they're kind of screwed at that point because now it's going to be almost impossible for them to catch Tampa.
Right.
Carolina, you don't have to worry about them, and with the Saints now with no Derek Carr, they're really not much of a threat either.
He did it. He was
You
scared of
know,
the Raiders coming to town. That's why.
yeah, so figured he'd break his hand now.
And I like Derek Carr. I really do. But
I did too.
he
I
was
I
scared of.
never had a problem with him while he was here. Everybody else did. I mean,
Yeah.
he didn't have stable coaches for years, so I mean, what do you expect?
Yeah.
How
Exactly.
many OCs and head coaches did he have in his 9 years here? A lot.
And he's
You
still
know,
produced, and
yeah,
that's
yeah.
crazy.
He's still number one in passing yardage as a quarterback for the Raiders.
Yeah.
You know,
But let's go ahead
go
and move
figure.
over to
But
the
whatever.
let's go ahead and move over to the defensive side of the ball for the Raiders. Who do you think is the biggest key component for the Raiders defensively to be able to put us in a good position to beat the Falcons on Monday?
I mean, the easy answer is always going to be Max,
Of
but
course.
I'll go a little different here. I'll go with like Chase on. If he
Mm,
continues to have the games he's been having, he's going to have a huge impact on what we can do as a defense to win this. Like I said, if they can get pressure on Cousins, then the interceptions will follow.
yeah.
You know, interceptions and sacks. If we can get at least a couple of either one of those, this game should be ours to lose. Basically, we'd have to excel at losing. You know,
They
so
might prove that though. They might prove you
yeah.
right and excel at losing for sure.
I
Um,
mean, if anything gives you hope, it's like you see what Minnesota did, but I mean, I know Minnesota's a different offense than what we have and
yeah,
different manpower than what we have, but it
exactly.
should still give you hope that
Oh, for
you can
sure.
put up some decent numbers against this defense too.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah, that's why it's going to be really interesting to see, like we already said, who the quarterback's going to be, how this offense looks with said quarterback at the helm. So we'll see on Monday, or we'll see when the injury designations come out for sure, because that's I'm really interested in that for sure.
yeah.
Um, yeah, so we kind of went over the keys to victory on the defensive side of the ball. Who do you think offensively is a big key for the Raiders if we want to, win this game?
McCormick. I'll say McCormick. Yeah, I mean, like I've said before, Brock is Brock. You know, because I think McCormick, no matter who the quarterback is, he could have a decent game because number one, he doesn't rely on what the quarterback can do. As long as the quarterback can get the ball in his hands, then
Hmm.
it's all on McCormick.
Yeah.
We don't need you don't need a John Elway back there to hand the ball off to him. You could just have anybody hand the ball off to him,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know. Or even if you got to throw it to him, it's going to be short screens and let him make the plays.
Yeah.
You know, so I think McCormick is going to be he McCormick could be more of a safety valve than he has in the past, depending on who a quarterback is. If it's AOC, then it's game on, game is playbook as usual. If it's
Hmm.
Ritter, okay, now we got to take a little different approach here and hope that McCormick is more involved
Yeah,
because it's only going to help Ritter. You
exactly.
got to remember that. We get a running game going. It's only going to help whoever's back there as quarterback. If it's Ritter or if it's Bradley due to injuries, who knows? You know,
Hmm.
it's like that great unknown
Yeah,
until the
exactly.
game starts and we see what's going on. It's just
Yeah.
gonna be nice being home Monday night to sit and just watch the game and not be stressed and having to deal with stuff at the bar and all that crap. It's
Uh
gonna be nice and relaxing. You know.
huh. Yeah, I think also with Madison coming back, that one-two punch could possibly do some damage against the Atlanta Falcons for sure. Um,
Hmm.
so I think that's going to be a big part of the offensive game coming into this matchup. I really like Madison. He's like I said, he's been our best back all year. So I'm really excited to see what those two can do together because they both run really hard whenever they get the ball. You can tell they put in a lot of effort whenever they get the ball, and that's something you want to see because it seemed like Zamir White just did not care about running the ball. So
Nah,
the fact that
nah.
he's on IR is probably a blessing in disguise. And we tried it. We tried Zamir White out for the year. He looked good at the end of last year. I don't know what happened, but I'm glad it's McCormick has really shown up these past couple of weeks, and I'm glad that we were able to sign Alexander Madison too. Because honestly, at the beginning of the year, I didn't really like that signing, but he's really shown up to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm glad that we got McCormick into the mix. So that just that changes everything in my eyes. It automatically is giving us credibility in the backfield now.
Yeah,
Because he's
exactly.
doing things that Zeus couldn't even do.
Right.
Like have the vision to see the hole it opens up. Madison, you already knew could run the ball. He was already a
What's up,
serviceable running back.
Leo?
Was you already knew he was a serviceable running back.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing what McCormick can do to complement that. It's a decent 1-2 punch. Especially now the fact that McCormick's named the number one starter. He's going to be the
Right.
RB1 for us going forward. So that's going to, the good thing is that's going to give him confidence now too. That's going to make McCormick feel even better and have that mindset that he can do this job and do it to the best of his ability. You know, that's a huge confidence boost when a coach
Hmm.
says you're running RB1 now going forward. That's got to make this kid feel good after being on the practice squad for what the last
The
3 years,
last,
two
yeah,
two and a half 3 years.
yep, and going
And
through all
he's
those
like,
injuries
finally,
too.
I'm getting a shot at this, and
Yep.
let's get this done. So
Yep.
I'm happy for the kid. I really am. I know Turf's happy as a pig in shit. That's for damn sure. His guy, he
That's his
always
guy,
says it.
huh?
You know, I never doubted his opinion since I met him, and he was 100% right on this kid. You know, so we'll see what happens Monday night. He's playing on a big stage Monday night. Nationally televised game.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Um, I I mean we kind of flew through these topics to be honest. Is there anything else you want to go ahead and go through?
I'm not going to comment on kickers.
I was gonna
Um,
say our kickers looked a lot better. I'll say it because hopefully I wasn't the one to jinx it because I brought it up too. Uh,
not even going to listen.
our kickers looked
Not even
better.
going to pay.
Daniel
Not even
Carlson
going to touch that
hit
one.
his field goals. He hit his field goals. So
Yeah,
I mean, he looked better. I think it was just the cold in Kansas City. Like I
sure.
I mean,
We'll go with that.
Daniel Carlson never misses those kind of kicks, and he just was short. Normally he has the leg for him, and I don't think I've ever seen him hit it short. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, AJ Cole looked pretty good too. But like we said, the kickers are something that Raider Nation can normally hang their hat on. Can normally hang their hat on. Can normally reliable kickers, but I don't know what happened in Kansas City. They put something in the water or something. I don't know.
You know what? That sounds about right. Yeah, they drugged the water on him or something. And he had limp leg. His leg just went. "Ugh." He couldn't kick. We'll go with that. That sounds good. Other than that, I'm not touching any comments on kickers anymore. Not doing it. Absolutely not.
That is hilarious.
But yeah, I mean, it's going to be an interesting game. For me, it just brings back those old memories of the Monday Night Football games when,
Right.
like we said last night, when the Monday Night games meant something.
Hmm.
Now there's so many damn games on all the time. There's a Thursday night game, and now we're getting to that part of the season now because college is pretty much over after this weekend. Because once the Army Navy game is done, you're going to start seeing Saturday games coming up. So you're going to
Hmm.
have games on Thursdays. Um, but even on the Thursday games, I think they stopped those a few weeks before the end of the season,
Hmm.
at least 2 weeks, I think. So you're going to start. So there at one point there will be Thursday night games. There'll probably be Saturday games, then Sundays, and then Mondays. So there's all these extra games, like even coming up Christmas, you got games on Christmas Day
Yeah,
again.
that's
You
right.
know, Chiefs are playing again on Christmas Day. I hope they lose too.
I'm pretty sure
Ruin a
everybody
certain
hopes that.
ruin a certain pop artist's Christmas again. Just wish it was us ruining it. Yeah,
So
we had a
I,
chance to ruin like Thanksgiving and we blew it. So
yeah, I mean, I yeah, I really wish they didn't want to go shopping after the game, but I guarantee you they did. So I'm guessing that you didn't watch the Hallmark Travis Kelsey Taylor Swift movie.
you're seriously asking me that?
Apparently,
Hell no,
there's a new
no.
movie on Hallmark.
Yeah.
I heard you'd be really into it.
Oh no,
I thought you're
dude.
the biggest Swifty.
Hell no. I do know it was his mom in that one too. I think
I just seen a
Mama
clip
Kelsey was in that. I
on
heard.
TikTok. I seen a clip
Yeah.
on TikTok and it was like Andy Reid is in it. Um I don't know. I think I just seen Andy Reid, but it looks so fucking stupid. I mean, if
Dude, it's the Hallmark Channel. What do you expect?
exactly.
Okay, these are all basically frou fucking whatever you call it, Christmas lame movies, and my
Just
mother watches that, so my
oh
mother what
really?
lives. Oh yeah, when I set her up with YouTube TV a few months ago,
Uh
that was the biggest thing. She was like, "Can I still get my Hallmark channels?" "Yes, Ma, I'll get you the Hallmark channels." So I just put her on, added her to my account,
mm,
and just went to her house and set it all up for her. She goes, "Are you sure that they're gonna be on there?" I'm like, "Ma, they're right here. Look." I just show her the whole thing, and she's 76 years old, so it's like I had to show her how to get through, the school thing. Good thing is her controller that she has is the same one I have here.
uh-huh.
So when she calls me up and gives me, has issues, I can hold this controller in my hand and I can tell her, all right, second button down, press this. Well,
Oh, I see.
that's
Yeah.
been the easiest part because in the past she's always had different style TVs, and
Uh-huh.
so I bought her a brand new TV, a true smart TV because the one she had before wasn't. Oh, it was a nightmare. But yeah, what I had to go through to prove to her that Hallmark show channels were on there.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, all right. Well, I gotta make you happy, so I'll do this." I already saved her a ton of money switching over from cable, so she was happy. Unbelievable, mothers, I tell you.
But yeah, I honestly I think that's it. We kind of just flew through this. I mean,
Yeah, we did actually. I
we
mean,
had a good
I mean,
time
come on,
though.
there weren't a lot of highlights to begin with from last
Yeah,
week's game,
that's
so I mean,
that's definitely true. I mean, I hope there's going to be a lot more to talk about next week. Um and we can only talk about so much, rumors and Vrabel. We kind of already talked a lot about that. I feel like let's wait a couple. I mean, at least until next week, or until there's a little bit more, substance to rumors, till we can continue to talk about that for sure. And then
yeah,
we
because
can
right
all,
now it's like beating a dead horse right
yeah,
now. It is, you know,
exactly. And then
you
also
you can't
we can only talk about Shadur
you can't,
so much. So
yeah, and you can't really get in too much depth as far as what's the direction that they're going to go in the draft and who they should pick
yeah,
until the season is over. And number one, we figure out what draft pick number we're going to have, and
mm-hmm.
number two, what's going to happen if Mark Davis is going to keep the same coaching staff.
Yep, exactly.
So until that's solidified, until he comes out and says he's not going anywhere, we're not going to change the head coaching position. We are going to do some other changes in the coaching ranks, which may or may not have an effect on what we do in the draft. Obviously, it all
Right.
depends on what positions they're looking to make the change for. So until that decision is made, we can talk about what they want all they want. It's like too soon in a way.
Yeah.
It's like I've made my statement on what I thought. I've put it out there. I've put it out on our
Yeah.
show. I've put it out on a couple others, and the one show I did by myself this week because I just felt like getting on and talking.
Mm-hmm.
I put my thing out there, and as the season goes on, I may be asked about it by other people, and I'll reiterate it, but I'm not going to
Yeah.
go hammering it again until
Right.
the season's over. There's no sense in it,
Right.
you know. Other than that, people are just going to be like, "Yeah, we heard this already. We're tired of it." You know?
Yeah, exactly. But
So like I'll wait until it's over and we know what direction it looks like the team's gonna want to go.
yes, exactly. I completely agree. Um, but what did sound fun was, talking about all of the missed draft picks that the Raiders had that we were talking about yesterday. We definitely
Yeah,
got to do that show. The Raider connection is definitely going to have to do that type of show prior to the draft for sure. That's definitely draft topic heavy, of course.
yeah.
But yeah, that sounds fun. But yeah, guys, go ahead and give us a follow on all of our socials. Our socials are listed right here. We do Raiders Coast to Coast every single Thursday. So please, come back, uh, go ahead and type in the chats. We look forward to seeing you guys' comments. We can go ahead and bring them up on the page here. Um, but yeah, go ahead, Jeff. Anything you want to put in?
Now, if anybody that's watching on my channel right now, if you look in the bio, you'll see the Linktree account
Yep.
link. If you click on that, that'll bring you to a page that'll show you every single social media platform that the Booster Club is on. Um, that'll cover everything from YouTube, website, TikTok. Trying to do a little bit more on TikTok lately too, as long as it's also doing the YouTube stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the next show we got coming up would be the Raider Connection
Raider
on
Connection
next
on
Wednesday
Wednesday.
night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, I'll probably be on with somebody on Monday during the game, Monday night on the live, more than likely. Um,
Dope.
I know I am supposed to be on two other shows tomorrow night
Oh,
that
cool.
I've been asked. Yeah, the cage match is one of them. And then Raider Ben reached out to me and wants me to come on tomorrow night. So
Oh, dope.
I have a busy night tomorrow night, and then
Yeah, that'd be
hopefully
really cool.
when I'm done with both of those, I'll hopefully if Turf does his Turf and Rundown Friday night fun night,
Oh yeah.
probably hop on there for sure. So worst comes
Dope.
to worst, if you find me, you'll probably find me on that one for sure. I may
Yeah.
just get in late to the party, that's all. But I plan on being there.
Yeah, definitely. And on Monday night, I plan on being at Cosm in LA and Inglewood. So if anybody in LA or in the area, show up to Cosm. Cosm is going to be super dope. It's a completely different way to experience a game. It'll be my first time there, but seeing on social media, it looks insane. I'm very excited about it. I'm hoping to do some interviews with some fans.
Oh,
Hopefully,
there you go.
get a couple drinks with some fans, talk about some Raider football. So if you guys are in LA, Inglewood area, go to Cosm. I feel like that's going to be super dope. Very excited to do that. But yeah, I think that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Uh, Peace out. Just win, baby.
Go Raiders.